Mwamuzi kuna mtu anazungumza naye hapa, ni Zimbwe. Pasi na shaka. Hapana, hakuwa Zimbwe. Ni Jiresa yule. Acha kupiga kelele, cheza mpira. Kabumbu sasa inaendelea katika nafasi yake Aisha Salum Manula. Weka mpira pembeni kwa sasa kwa Onyango Joasha Chengabu pipi ya kijiti. Weka mpira mrefu mbele kwa sasa Chama Klatus. Amepoteza Chama mpira ule. Haya sasa amekuwa mbele huku. Nafasi kwa Jiresa kwenye box la Simba, lakini nguvu yake inakuwa ndogo. Henoki Nonga Baka kwa utulivu anatoa mpira katika mguu wake. Anaweka mpira mrefu mbele lakini pia anapoteza. Anaanza tena Dago Shibamba, wanakwenda Premio do Agosto, penetration pasi. Chance kwa Agosto. Weka mpira chini huko, anaondosha katika tali Simba. Chama Klatus, Okra Agustin, counter attack nzuri sasa. Moses Fira atafika katika nafasi. Anachelewa. Kama ngenasa ile. Tukizungumza lingine. Haya Bito Kamilo Mbule. Weka mpira katikati kwa Shibamba Dago kumwekea tena pembeni kule Mule ametuliza bado. Mule kwa gula yake la kushoto. Mule tekros ndani huku bado. Premio ameanza kwenda. Wameswitch mpango. Haya Mzamiru Yasini Saidi Selembe. Mpira mrefu mbele kula sasa kwa Moses Firi, lakini inakuwa ni offside. Mbia Okra ulijenga kibanda. Asante sana Hasani Madeni, unasema TFF pitisheni Simba iwe ndio. Acha maneno. Isdori Kimbe nimekuona pia. Messi Musa unasema mpo vizuri, asante. Faraja Ishi anasema hapo nyie ngojiena iombea Agosto ushindi, pasi na shaka ni wananchi. Oliver Tenga nimekuona pia. Danny Boy Tizi nimekuona. Mpira nje kule sasa. Mohamed Hussein Zimba na kwa ni kona. Dakika ni ya 35 kipindi hiki cha kwanza. Kwa nafasi ile Premio do Agosto inakuwa ni goal kick. Cheza Chama Klatus.
Na 7 hiyo. Mambo bado ni 1-0. Simba akiwa mbele kwa bao moja. Wakati Di Agosto akiwa hajapata kitu tafuta. Haya hatari hiyo. Ndio nzuri kabisa kule Josh Onyango alikuwa anatafuta bao kusawazisha vijana wa Di Agosto. Wanafika. Simba anapaswa kuongeza makini katika eneo la ulinzi. Wanafika kwa uzuri kabisa vijana wa Di Agosto. Simba anapaswa kuongeza makini katika eneo lao la ulinzi. Vinginevyo naweza kasawazisha vijana hawa wa Di Agosto. Haya kona hiyo inakwenda kupigwa sasa. Piga kona kule ndefu kabisa huku bado imo ndani ya boxi. Anafanya ndio kwa uzuri kabisa huku anakataa. Hakuna mwingine. Piga shuti kule goal kick. Ndio kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Wenda ucheza sasa kwa uzuri kabisa Aisha Salum Manula goal kick ile. Simba akiwa mbele kwa bao 1-0. Dakika ni ya 38 ya mchezo. Nakwenda kwa uzuri kabisa kucheza sasa mpira ule. Aisha Salum Manula anajivuta piga ndefu kabisa huko juu. Anamtafuta kwa uzuri kabisa na kataa kule mchezaji huyu. Upande wa Di Agosto Hos. Shapiga ndefu kabisa huku. Asicheza Chama anacheza kwa Enoki Nonga Baka. Enoki Nonga piga ndefu kabisa huku, pasi ndefu kabisa huku kutafuta Kibnesi na ondosho kule. Na kataliwa na Iwai goalkeeper. So hiyo anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa, anaanza na beki wake kwa uzuri kabisa Venancio. Anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa kupembeni kwa uzuri kabisa huku, anakwenda ni Paizo sasa anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa kuna goalkeeper wake. Ameshacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku na Bito piga ndefu kabisa huku, pasi fupi kwa uzuri kabisa huku, anakwenda Bobo sasa. Bobo anakwenda, Bobo anaipandisha timu, Bobo anakwenda sasa. Bobo kwa upande wa Di Agosto, Bobo piga pasi nzuri kabisa huku pembeni kabisa, anakwenda Sari Agosto. Hatari anakataa Josh Onyango. bado anaye vijana wa Agosto kibia kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Acharudisha nyuma kwa uzuri kabisa katikati mwa uwanja. Anamwekea kwa uzuri, anakwenda huku ni Paizo sasa. Paizo anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku katikati mwa uwanja kwake Bito. Anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku kwake Dago Shibamba, Mkongo huyo. Anapiga gol. Kamata golikipa Aisha Manula. Ashapiga ndefu kabisa kwa Aisha Manula dakika ya 39 kwenda 40. Anataka kuikimbilia kule ni Castro Chama, anakataliwa kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Anachukua kwa uzuri kabisa mchezaji Manilson. Piga ndefu kabisa huku. Juu kabisa huku anafuta kwa uzuri kabisa huku, anagonga kichwa ile. Anakataa Mohamed Hussein kwa kichwa. Bado imo. Walituliza sasa vijana wa Agosto. Anakwenda kuzuri piga pasi penetration ingakataa kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Anaondosha katika hatari Eno Kinonga Baka. Ameshaondosha Eno Kinonga. Sasa anakwenda kucheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Anakwenda kurusha mpira ule. Hoss na mpira sasa, anakwenda kurusha Hoss. Amesharusha Hoss kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Nakataa Mohamed Hussein, anaondosha kwa uzuri kabisa ile. Yakimbilia bado. Kimbia kwa uzuri kabisa huku vijana wa Agosto. Anaweka Keliniano. Haya, piga pass penetration kwa tako, anaiwahi kwa kipa Aisha Manula, anaiacha na kwa goal kick. Inakuwa ni goal kick. Alikuwa anakwenda kwa uzuri kabisa mchezaji Melon, lakini akachelewa. Wanafika vijana wa Agosto. Simba anapaswa kuongeza umakini. Dakika ni 40. Ashapiga pasi ndefu kabisa huku katikati mwa uwanja na kwenda sasa. Haya, wanakwenda sasa Simba Atario. Phil anaweka kwa uzuri kabisa kwake Kibdensi. Kibdensi pembeni mwa uwanja. Kibdensi afanya nini? Kibdensi anamweka kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Israel Patrick kwa komavu mkubwa kwake Kibdensi. Israel Patrick wanagongana. Pia cross. Oh! Ilimkuta kwenye miguu yake Castro Chama. Lakini kama imemshtukiza hivi, akajikuta mpira umemwacha na umekwenda nje. Lakini ulimkuta pazuri kabisa, cross nzuri ilipigwa. Bobo akashangaa. Ilikuwa tofauti sana na ile ambayo alifungwa Dickson Job na Ali Hilal jana kwa Mkapa pale. Cheza nzuri kabisa kwa anaondosha. Inakuwa ni kurusha sasa vijana wa Agosto. Kuelekea lango la Simba Sports Club. Dakika 4 zimesalia automatika kipindi cha kwanza, dakika 45. Anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku, anacheza katika eneo lao. Jirese amecheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku, kwa uzuri kabisa anacheza Bobo kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Anacheza kwake Bobo tena, piga ndefu kabisa huku, cross piga juu kabisa huku, anakimbia Aisha Manula. Alikamata kwa uzuri kabisa sana kwa ujidai Aisha Manula, akiwa na faida bao moja mpaka sasa. Ukizingatia ni mchezo ugenini. Anaangalia cheza na nani Aisha Manula sasa. Aisha Manula piga ndefu kabisa huku. Wanakwenda sasa Kibdens. Inakwenda kurusha, ameutoa sasa, amesharusha haraka kwa uzuri kabisa huku vijana wa Agosto. Anacheza goalkeeper Soyo. Anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa na mlinzi wake huku Paizo. Paizo anakwenda sasa Paizo pembeni mwa uwanja ushoto huku Paizo. Anaika kuzuri kabisa huku kwa Mawia Jirese. Anakimbia Mawia Jirese, anamgongesha mtu, inakuwa ni kurusha haraka aisharusha Mawia Jirese. Mawia Jirese anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku Dago Shibamba. Anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa na Bobo sasa anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku kwa Keliano anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku kwa Bobo tena. Anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku, amepoteza pasi ile kwa uzuri kabisa, anakwenda sasa Simba Sports Club. Mzabiri wa piga ndefu kabisa huku kumtafuta kwa uzuri kabisa huku, anakimbilia Okra. Anaanza sasa Okra Agasti Okra sasa Agasti Okra anataka kumchekesha mtu. Okra anakataliwa kwa uzuri kabisa, tackle ni nzuri kabisa ile, akakataa Dago Shibamba, na ametendwa madhambi mchezaji wa timu ya Agosto, na inakwenda kuwa ni madhambi kuelekeza lango la timu ya Simba Sports Club. Inakwenda kupiga kwa lango la timu ya Simba Sports Club. Anakwenda kucheza mpira ule wa madhambi. Goalkeeper Soyo anaambia wenzake, sogeni mbele, tutafute bao la kusawazisha hapa mapema kipindi cha kwanza, vinginevyo mambo yatakuwa magumu. Achapiga ndefu kabisa huku, uzuri kabisa huku, piga kichwa kirefu kabisa huku, mkataa kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Sadio Kanuti anarudisha kwa Israel Patrick, kiwango kizuri kabisa. Israel Patrick anawekwa chini, Muzi anasema ni madhambi yametendeka. Mawia Jirese alimkwatua na anapata kadi ya njano. Muzi anamuonya, anamwambia hapana, nitakupa kadi ya njano. Dakika mpaka sasa dakika 44 kipindi cha kwanza cha mchezo. Dakika moja imesalia kutamatisha dakika 45 za kipindi cha kwanza. Simba moja ambao ni wageni na Agosto 0 ambao ndio wenyeji katika mchezo huu. Eno Kinonga sasa piga ndefu kabisa huku. Mchezo kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Mbele kabisa uwanja anakataa kwa uzuri kabisa huku Bobo. Anakwenda kwa uzuri kabisa katikati ya uwanja huku. Vijana wa Agosto wanakwenda ametindiwa madhambi. Mchezaji wa Agosto anakwenda kupiga mpira ule haraka huku. Foul ile. Alikuwa anakwenda Keliano, ameshika kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku kwa Dago Chibamba. Katikati ya uwanja anacheza kwake nyuma huku Bobo. Team captain Bobo anacheza kwa uzuri kabisa huku na Venancio. Anakwenda kucheza kwa uzuri kabisa kwenda kwa uzuri kabisa kwenda ataka katika box. Haya, ndani ya box ya Tario anafanya nini? Anataka kufanya nini mchezaji huyu? Haya, pia cross ile kwa uzuri kabisa wanachelewa wenyewe. Oh. Anakimbilia Aishi Salum Manula. Ameshacheza kwa uzuri kabisa kwa Aishi Manula kwake Israel Patrick. Israel Patrick sasa anakwenda Israel Patrick. Ameweka kwa uzuri kabisa Moses Firi amekuwa chini. Mzee anasema hapana, sio rahisi hivyo. Anakwenda sasa kwa uzuri kabisa Dago Chibamba. Dago Chibamba piga ndefu kabisa huku, pasi nzuri kabisa huku pembeni. Haya, anataka kumwada kwa uzuri kabisa kwa kwenda sasa. Mohamed Hussein na mchezaji na Mohamed Hussein anaambiwa umetenda madhambi Mohamed Hussein. 45 za kupiga kwanza tayari zimekwisha kutamatika. Za nyongeza ndizo ambazo zinasubiriwa. Bito alikuwa anakwenda kwa uzuri, Mohamed Hussein akajikuta ametenda madhambi na kucheza miguu ya Bito badala ya kucheza na mpira. Inakuwa ni mpira wa foul, inakwenda kupigwa katika lango la Simba Sports Club. Wakati dakika 45 zimekwisha kutamatika tayari. Dakika 45 za kipindi cha kwanza zimekwisha kutamatika. Wacha tuone nini kitatokea. Dakika moja imeongezwa. Anakwenda kupiga mpira wa foul ule. Bito piga kataa kwa uzuri kabisa huku. Alipiga nzuri kabisa foul ile. Ikaenda kuwashughulisha safi ulinzi ya Simba, lakini Bobo akapiga mpira ambao umeenda nje, inakuwa ni goal kick. Aligusa Aishi Manula lakini ukamkuta Bobo kichwani na akajikuta ameupeleka nje. Asante kwa wote ambao mnashiriki nasi kwa kutuandikia jumbe zenu. Tayari dakika 45 za kipindi cha kwanza zimetamatika katika dimba hili kutokea katika dimba la Agosto hapa nchini Angola. Simba moja Agosto 0. Tutana kunako kipindi cha pili. Hii ni Uondo TV. Uko nasi, mimi ni top scorer Red Footer, jezi yangu nambari 7 mgongoni, Emmanuel Chaz. Nikiwa sambamba na Umari Hasani mzuri mbani kwa uzuri kabisa. Mchezo wa kuwania kufuzu atoa Makundi Ligi ya Mabingwa barani Afrika, mkondo wa kwanza. Wenyeji Agosto dhidi ya wekundu wa Msimbazi Simba Sports Club. Unatamatika kwa bwana Tanzo kipindi cha kwanza na Simba akiwa mbele kwa 1-0. Tukutane kwa kipindi cha pili cha mchezo. Asante, endelea kwa karibu nasi.
exactly 23 minutes past the hour, 9 o'clock on this Sunday. Welcome back to Sunday Live. We're going to go straight from the studio live to Nyeri County, where we find our very own Wahiga Mara standing by for an exclusive one-on-one interview with Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Wahiga, if you can hear me, take it away.
Thanks, Jeff. Your Excellency, Deputy President Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua, thank you so much for welcoming us to your Nyeri home, especially at a time when I know you're in the midst of mourning the loss of your eldest brother, Jack Reriani, and of course our condolences to your family at this time. And I actually want to give you an opportunity at this time to pay tribute and tell Kenyans what you will remember your brother most for at a time like this as you continue to mourn.
Thank you, Maura. You are most welcome to my home. This is the Rio Mountain. My farm is on the edge of the Mount Kenya forest. You can feel the breeze and the whistling of the trees. You know, some people are saying they are climbing the mountain instead of talking to me because I'm right at the top of the mountain. So welcome to the mountain.
Thank you.
It's true, I'm mourning my brother, my older brother, Jack Reriani, a great man, and he educated me. You know, our parents were not like us. They had a very innovative insurance scheme about matters education and life. They would give birth to so many children so that they educate a few and the few can take care of the rest. I happen to be a beneficiary of that insurance scheme. My parents, the late Mzee Nahashin Gachagua and Mother Kirigo, freedom fighters in this very forest, were able to educate my two brothers, that is the late Jack Reriani and the late governor, and then the two brothers educated the rest of us. So I'm indeed very grateful. He has a hand in who I am today, because I went to school up to university, and that has contributed greatly to my ascendancy to the high office that I occupy today. And you know, we are in mourning as a family, but we really want to thank the villagers here. They have really come through for me. Our church leaders have really prayed for us, and they have been coming to home every day, and people have sent condolences. They have given us moral, financial support. I'm indeed very grateful, and on behalf of the entire Gachagua family, we want to say thank you to all those who have connected with us. Okay.
And even, of course, as you're in the midst of this mourning and grieving time, nevertheless, I know you're very well attuned to what is happening around the country. And there are various challenges that Kenyans are facing as you now sit in the very substantive position of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Yes.
You know that leaders from the northeastern counties have asked government to declare a state of emergency over the drought situation in the country. And I want to ask you this from the position you now sit and that vantage point. Your thoughts about the fact that nearly 60 years after independence, to see a country like Kenya flagging off relief food, to see the kind of pictures that we're seeing across our television screens.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Well, it's a sorry state of affair, but granted, it's not entirely because of government neglect or such. It's really as a result of the effects of climate change. And you know, we depend on rain-fed agriculture, and that to a large extent has contributed to the situation we find ourselves in. Be as it may, our new government has made very serious interventions. I chaired a meeting of governors and the national government to create synergy on the relief efforts that we need to do. And thereafter, after chairing the meeting, I realized there's a big gap and there's a lot of duplication. The national government is making certain interventions that are duplicated by the county governments. And the two levels of government were also duplicating what the donor community is doing through the NGOs. His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Ruto, mandated me to convene a meeting for the donor community, and we had like 65, countries and organizations. And under my chairmanship, we have formed a tripartite team between the national government, the county governments, and the donor fraternity. And we are now working together. And we have also devolved that at the county levels. We have formed coordinating teams that encompass the national government, the county governments, and the representatives of the donors who have some presence in that particular county in matters intervention. And we have put aside 900 million Kenya shillings for purchase of relief food this week. and this coming week, and that food will be going to the people. The donors are also having a very serious incursion in terms of cash program. They're having cash program where they are sending 6,500 to families in distress.
Okay.
But what we are trying to do is to bring harmony, because we found that even the national government through the Ministry of Public Service were also having a cash program, and we found there was a duplication where the same beneficiaries who are benefiting from the donors were also benefiting from us.
And I ask you this because your boss was the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya for 10 years. Did you consult him on those gaps so that we don't end up in a situation where we're doing the same things and, God forbid, 5 years from now, we are flagging off some more relief food? What are those long-term solutions that Kenya Kwanza is tabling today?
I am working directly under President William Ruto. He is on top of things. He is getting a 3-hour interval break from me on the situation. He's very concerned, and he's clear in his mind that nobody should die because of lack of food. And we are mobilizing water boosters from the military, from KDF, from the National Youth Service, and from water organizations within the Ministry of Water to be able to give water to our people. I'm in discussions with the management of the Kenya Meat Commission in terms of an urgent offtake program to be able to buy livestock so that we cushion the livestock herders from incurring very big losses. And those livestock, some of them we slaughter and feed the starving communities. Others are will be processed at KMC to get corned beef for the purposes of giving that intervention to our children in schools and also in dispensaries for lactating mothers. It's a dire situation, it's very serious, but I want to say that there is a lot of support from the donor community, and I am on top of things in terms of coordinating the donor effort, and we are working in very serious synergy with the county government as well as the national government. And I want to assure the people of Kenya that we have put enough mechanisms and no Kenya will die because of hunger. But going forward, the solution is agriculture. The solution is irrigation.
I actually want to take you there because I know one of the mechanisms that you have discussed quite a bit, and of course President William Ruto as well, is the provision of fertilizer to farmers across the country. I believe 1.4 million bags are being distributed as we speak. We still wait to hear from you. Where did that fertilizer come from, Your Excellency?
I know many people asking that question, but it's neither here nor there. Some of the fertilizer has come from Morocco.
Is it from Russia?
It has come from Morocco, and this is not the first time. Morocco has been supplying to this country very quality fertilizer at very affordable rate. And I think our interest right now is not the source. What we are interested in is quality fertilizer at the right price. Anybody, any other country that has good quality fertilizer at the right price, we are willing to engage. I want to say that we have also organized with the KTDA, and the fertilizer now is being supplied to our tea farmers, and that will be a very good intervention in terms of increasing the yield. I want to say that this 1.4 million bags that we have given to the maize farmers and others across the country will not only help in improving the yield, but it will also improve in bringing the price of food commodities down, especially maize flour. And we are also in consultation. We know the long rains will be here, and we are not sure. What's going to happen. So we have already started planning with the Ministry of Agriculture, with the county governments, with our development partners on the provision of fertilizer for the planting in the long rain season. So that is going on, and I want to assure our farmers that the government is up and running, and everything possible is being done to make sure that we support our farmers so that they can increase production. And
I'm actually going to take this conversation forward, but on the question of fertilizer, you've been in office for a little under 20 days. What sort of procurement mechanism was used to bring in this fertilizer from Morocco? Did you use a government-to-government transaction? Was it an open bid of sorts? Maybe enlighten us on that, Your Excellency.
What you also must know is that it's only President William Ruto and I who are in office. All the other people are the Uhuru people. They are not our people. And you know, the Uhuru people do not believe in bottom-up economic model. They don't believe in all these things we are doing, because during the campaign period, they were actively against us and saying that the bottom-up economic model is not workable. So we are operating in very difficult circumstances. We are just trying to whip them to see what we can do together. And because we must keep the country running as we wait for our ministers to be vetted by the National Assembly and to be sworn in. So we are not really very much keen on the methods. We are very keen on making sure that there is fertilizer.
Is that not a dangerous way to begin the formation of a new government without following due process?
How do you begin a new government with the people who don't belong to you? You just have what you call a first aid. You know, we're having a first aid situation. It's like when if you get an accident before you get to hospital, you can get somebody to fix a bandage so that you don't have too much bleeding. As soon as our cabinet secretaries are sworn in, as soon as our principal secretaries are in office, I'll be able to answer you very comprehensively, because those are things that I'll be in charge. You know, we have inherited many things, many we don't agree with, many we have a problem with, but we are faced with a difficult situation where we have a drought, we have people facing starvation, so we just have to work with the whole ministers. And that is why you saw, because constitutionally they are still in office until the new ministers are sworn in. We called a cabinet meeting. Even tomorrow morning, President William Ruto, I've asked for permission because I'll not be able to go. We have another cabinet meeting because we have to keep the country going. You know?
So we can assume that it was a government-to-government transaction.
I'm not very averse with the details. I must be very honest.
Okay.
But what I know is that the fertilizer is there. I flagged it off. There is fertilizer in Mombasa, and we are happy that some fertilizer is there. But once our ministers are sworn in, once our PSs are sworn in, I'll be in a position to very comprehensively tell you exactly what is happening, what is the plan, what is the method, what is the process.
Your Excellency, well, one of the things you've not shied away from talking about is the state of our economy today.
Yeah.
You've described it as dilapidated. You've used words like economic shutdown was looming, a crisis as well. And earlier on, when you were speaking to my colleague Rashid Abdallah, you even mentioned that just yesterday there were insufficient forex reserves at the central bank to purchase oil. How did we get there? How did our oil reserves safe at this moment? You know, when you made that statement, many questions came up, Your Excellency.
How did we get there? Economic mismanagement, lack of priorities. We abandoned government. We went to market project Azimio. We went to do BBI. We abandoned government. Then we had a mongrel of a government that is neither opposition nor government. There was nobody who is accountable. There was no oversight. And that is how the country almost shut down. And
I'm asking you this because the central bank governor on the record told parliamentarians that we're out of the forex crisis, that there was a golden bike type scandal that was being worked by certain players. Yes. That has been sorted.
Yes.
So Kenyans believe that we won't hear that anymore, but you're telling us now today
the governor was
we still have a forex crisis.
The governor was very forthright by saying that the coffers were ripped off in the last 3 months.
So what's the cause of this current crisis? Because he says it was sorted, but you're telling us we still have a crisis today.
Why there was a forex problem is because of state capture. You know, there was a lot of interest in banks where very senior people in government own certain banks, and they got involved in this forex business, you know, and the central bank was no longer in charge because of state capture. Wahiga, I said on inauguration day, many people thought I'm mischievous. I'm a very truthful person. We inherited a country that is in trouble. We did not actually know the extent of the rot. Only when now we started getting briefings from the National Treasury, we found there's a problem. But we are going to fix it. I want to give the people of Kenya hope. I have sat down with the Commissioner General of KRA, and I have taken him to task that the way he was collecting tax, he was not likely to get anything, because all this tax was being siphoned by investigating officers pretending to be investigating tax evasion. They set up cartels within KRA. When they allowed DCI to take over KRA, that is why we are in this hall. That's why we are in shit, you know, because officers came there, took over KRA, saying that they are investigating tax evasion. They formed cartels. They formed extortion rings. They started collecting the tax themselves.
Your Excellency, with your permission, I'll interrupt you because that's in the past. You said freedom has come. So it's a new dispensation, and I now want to understand.
But you're asking me how we got here. You're asking me how we got here.
I want to understand from you what precipitated, for example, yesterday's crisis. You're now in charge.
I am saying.
I want to assume it's not the same factors.
We have inherited a crisis. We are looking for a solution. We did not cause the crisis. You cannot ask me what caused the crisis. It was caused by state capture and conflict of interest.
Okay.
Ourselves, we are looking for a solution. We did not precipitate the crisis.
So how do you see
We have come in, Wahiga, we are only 17 days old. The Minister for National Treasury is not ours. There is nobody who is ours that we can take responsibility for his action or inaction.
So from your...
We are still having the Uhuru ministers who caused the problem that we are having right now. What we are doing is that we can't just sit back and wait until we get our ministers. We must get out of this situation. President William Ruto is holding meetings day and night, up to 2 a.m. every day, trying to get this country back on track, trying to make sure that we have enough forex to buy oil, trying to make sure that we have some money to buy fertilizer in preparation for the long rains, trying to make sure that salaries are paid. But here the problem that we are having is that the amount of money we have been collecting is just sufficient to pay debt and salaries, and there is no money for development. We have to borrow, and that is what we are saying. Banks are lending us at 13% against state capture, because what is happening is that the people who are in government were also owning the banks, so they were quite happy to lend to government at any rate without bargaining.
For Kenyans wondering what the rest of the year might look like, the few months left, from your vantage position, with their concerns about record inflation, their concerns about the ongoing drought, their concerns about higher fuel prices, and of course the mention of the Russia-Ukraine war as well, do you think the promises that you made are now actionable?
No, the promises are actionable, but the
time frame?
The time frame will change. I cannot tell you a definite time frame. The time frame will change because we do know the situation is that bad, you know. But we have made very practical and pragmatic that we are only doing things that are sustainable. We can only subsidize production because that is sustainable. You cannot subsidize consumption. It is foolish to subsidize consumption because it's not sustainable. And I want to tell the people of Kenya that the decisions that President William Ruto has made are going to bear fruits within a short time. Once we get fertilizer to our farmers and we increase production, automatically the cost of food will come down. And that will give a very big relief. You are aware that he has made very serious intervention on Fuliza. You know we came to the Fuliza economy where everybody is just borrowing money from Fuliza as a way of giving a relief to the people of Kenya before the cost of food can come down. One of it with Safaricom and other stakeholders to bring down the cost, the interest rate of Fuliza, which has come down by 50%. Hopefully now that relief, people can use it to buy the expensive food. At least they have gotten a relief somewhere. They can use that little benefit to buy the food. Again, you are aware that we are making serious interventions in making sure that KRA is money. We
now want to follow a different approach.
We want to make a different approach, a friendly approach of collecting. And he has told me that actually we have started collecting. Things are looking good. And I want to appeal to the people of Kenya. I want to assure them that there is no criminalization of tax collection. I want to assure the people of Kenya there is no criminalization of enterprise.
Fair enough.
I want to appeal to the people of Kenya to pay tax. I want to assure them that there will be no extortion. There will be no cartels by DCI within KRA. The money that they were giving to DCI, they should go and pay tax so that that can help us develop this country. We can have provision of water, provision of electricity. We can do our roads. All we have done is to change focus, that the money that was going to people through extortion and cartels is now going to the public coffers.
Your Excellency, I think you made your point. On the question of state capture, what are your plans to unravel this state capture you speak of?
That has already started. That has already started.
And, let us know a little bit about it.
It has started by getting things done where there are no personal interest or commercial interest. We are looking at the national interest. We have had very serious discussion with the Kenya Airways. You know, Kenya Airways, their planes are always full, you know. They have the highest fares in this continent, yet they make losses because of state capture. Because the people who lease the aircrafts, they overcharge Kenya Airways because of state capture. You know, people who do repairs on those planes, they state capture. We are dealing with that so that we can bring the operational cost of Kenya Airways so that we can start making profit. Once we bring down the cost of leasing the aircrafts, once we bring down the cost of maintenance, Kenya Airways will start making profit and it will stop depending on treasury to give it money. That is one of the ways of sorting out this country.
How far
and
is the setup of the state capture
I can tell you state capture is real.
How far is the setup of the commission that you
first
promised?
we are dealing with CBC, we are dealing with the police reforms, we are dealing with the drought. First priorities, you know, sometimes you must, as a country, look at what is a priority. At a time when we are facing a drought, we are having a crisis with CBC because parents are not sure what is to be done. We had first to sort that one out. As soon as we settle down, as soon our ministers are in place, as once we have turned around this economy to get some shape that is getting somewhere and money starts flowing and KRI starts collecting money, we are now going to deal with the state capture. But for now, we are looking at priorities. And President William Ruto is busy. He is busy to start with constituting his government, and he is busy trying to sort out issues in the oil industry. He is very busy with the issues in education. He is very busy in issues in agriculture.
Okay.
Our focus is production. And William Ruto is clear in his mind that the way to sort out this country once and for all is to increase production, is to back up farmers with assistance in terms of fertilizer, in terms of inputs, in terms of all other facilities, in terms of
access to credit. And I want to jump in there on this whole matter of increasing production, because you were recently in Baringo. You were quoted as saying, and this is driving towards increasing production, that pale msituni kulikuwa na shamba system. Wananchi wanapewa, wanalima mahindi, wanapalilia miti. Your exact words. Lakini hii serikali ni yetu. Tumetoa order, wananchi waingie msituni, walime. We carried that soundbite. And then you later on went and told Kenyans that you were...
Yes, because you do not listen to me. And
give you a chance now to
you also did not
record.
do research what is Shamba system.
Okay,
Shamba system is not going into the forest and farming. You know, if you did some research on Shamba system, you would have had a fair and accurate reporting. Shamba system means you go to the forest reserve. There is land that has been set aside within the gazetted forest that have no trees at all. It's virgin land. You give farmers and you give them seedlings. And that is part of afforestation. They plant the trees and they plant crops. They take care of the trees. When they reach like 5 feet, the farmers get out because the crops will never grow. What I was talking about is not invading the forest and interfering with what is happening. What I was talking about is increasing the forest cover and having increased food production at the same time. I was talking about virgin land within gazetted forest, within the forest reserve. And that is the Shamba system. The Shamba system has never been getting into the forest.
It wasn't just the media that was concerned. Environmentalists,
because you media
were also concerned. No,
why the environmentalists were concerned?
Let me give you 3 reasons why they say they were concerned. One, they are concerned because the Shamba system in the past, a lot of it has been set up in forests that are also our water catchment area. And they have concerns that, one, the allocation in the Shamba system sometimes was done by cartels, and so it's not even the deserving local communities that get it. But also, we continue to reduce the forest cover of our 5 most crucial water catchment areas. What do you say to those concerns by environmentalists tonight?
They were reacting to your stories, and your stories were lopsided. Yeah, let me tell you, none of us is mad. We are very responsible people. I have a forest here. We have taken care of this forest. None of us has ever gone inside this forest. But all these forests, we are the people who planted, I included. All the areas that did not have trees were planted by my parents. They would come and allocate us 50 acres where there is no tree. We plant trees. When they get to 4 or 5 feet, we get out. They give us another one. That is how we have this beautiful forest. And let me tell you, we are going to get into serious afforestation. And even the people who are concerned about the environment, I'm going to mobilize them to assist us. We have no money to employ people to plant seedlings and to take care of them. I've told you the state we are in. We are going to partner with farmers around the forest reserves and all areas that are reserved for forest and don't have a single tree. We're gonna mobilize the farmers, give them the seedlings, let them plant the seedlings, take care of them, and when they get of age, they'll get out, they'll be allocated another area. Nobody will interfere with the forest. We are aware. We are well sized of the effects of climate change. We are very much aware of the degradation of forests. We are a very responsible government.
What would you say to those living in or around our 5 most important water towers, your Cherangani Hills, Mount Kenya, Aberdare, the Mau, Mount Elgon, when they heard your words that day? Could you not see how some of them would assume
None
that
of them. I told them, you know, you guys, you are very unreasonable to us. You did not report me correctly. I said, wait, we get a new Minister for Environment to develop the regulations and the mechanism of how to do this thing.
But you did not put that one. To Metoa order?
No. Yes, to December, we have agreed that that is going to happen, but it will be implemented by the new Minister for Environment. And I told them to give us time. And I even gave the timeline. I said, give us 2 to 3 weeks, you know. Once the new minister comes in, we'll sit down, we'll work out on the regulations. Nobody, no single person will be allowed to get into the forest. No cartel will be involved. Nobody will get into the 5 water towers. Nobody will get into the Mau. But where there is land that has been set aside and has no trees, we're gonna mobilize the farmers to plant trees in that area and take care of them. And when they are of age, they get out, they go to another area. I want to give the people of Kenya an assurance that the Ruto administration will increase forest cover threefold.
And your statement that day was a government position?
Yeah, it's government position.
Not a personal directive.
I don't talk as a person. I have no personal views. That's a government position. That we are very serious about increasing our forest cover. We are very serious in afforestation. We are serious in partnering with farmers to plant trees in areas that have no trees and trees need to be planted. That is our position.
Your Excellency, it's not the first time that you've said that you've been misquoted. And some are asking, and I saw an article that His Excellency Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is a man who speaks his mind. And we need more people like that in Kenya. Is it that you're not misquoted, but that you're just a man who speaks his mind?
You know, Mwaura, the press was mobilized against my candidature as Deputy President. You know, they misquoted everything I said. Anything I said, they will turn it around out of context to portray me in bad light. It's only when I got an opportunity to face Mother Karua and the people of Kenya knew what metal I am made of. I am very disappointed that even after the media tried to stop me being elected as Deputy President, and the people of Kenya have elected me, they are still following me to misquote me. But even if they misquote me, that never stopped me from being misquoted.
We are here today to speak.
Never.
We are here in
I'm
your
saying,
home.
despite the media effort, despite the social media outreach, and trying to portray me in bad light as somebody who is uncouth, somebody who is uncultured, somebody who is uncivilized, the people of Kenya decisively decided that Rigathi Gachagua is up to the job. I want to ask the media to give me a break. You come to my meetings and record me properly and do a bit of research. When I talked about the Shamba system, do a research what it means. Don't just write and say that it is something that is injurious, that is something that is negative. If you heard the clapping in that meeting, you know there is something that is positive about it. I am telling you, you are here, Wahiga, next to my home. My home joins the forest. There is nobody who knows the value of the forest more than Rigathi Gachagua. All this environment you are seeing here, all this good grass, is because of this forest. We know how important it is. None of us is irresponsible to ask people to go to the forest.
Fair enough, Your Excellency.
But all the areas near this forest that has no trees, they'll be planted by our farmers.
Fair enough, Your Excellency. I'm going to take some time to read a few questions from Kenyans, but before that, the cabinet was named this week. What do you make of those cabinet nominees today?
I was part of it, so it's a good cabinet. We have the best brains, and I'm very excited because we have gotten people who understand the public. That is a plus. We got where we were today, this crisis in Kenya, because the cabinet secretaries then did not understand the people, and they had no regard to the people, and they never listened to the people, and they never cared what the people are saying. That is why you see CBC was implemented without public participation. That is why we have established a task force now to listen to the people. If we had a minister of education who was somebody who deals with the people, we will not be where we are. If we had a Minister for Interior who had been elected, nobody would have touched the goods of our people in Nyamakeba. If we had a Minister of Lands who deals with the people, who understands the people, our people would not have been evicted in Kariobangi at night in the middle of COVID. We are saying, William Ruto is clear. He wants a team that revolves around the people. You know, Wahiga, the whole of this governance is about the people. What is it? We are leading the people. When you improve the economy, it's for the people. When you do roads, it's for the people. The people are the center. And they must be, when you are making any decision, it must revolve around the people. So we have put a cabinet about the people. It revolves around the people.
Well,
when we give Moses Kuria the Ministry of Trade, a man who is passionate about trade, a man who is passionate that we should not criminalize enterprise, a man who is passionate that we need to give people affordable credit. Moses Kuria will make a difference in trade matters because he is a people person. He is people-centered. He loves the people. He thinks about the people.
Be that as it may, I'm sure you have also heard the two major concerns that have been raised by a section of Kenyans about some of the cabinet choices. One, those who have active cases in court. And I'd like to hear from you, was that discussed as you were shortlisting your nominees? Was it an issue at all?
All those issues have been discussed. When I was being nominated as running mate, I had an active case in court. But everybody, including all these charges are fabricated. They were weaponized interventions against people who took a certain position in politics. And we cannot agree. Let me tell you, we cannot agree to disqualify people who have not been proven guilty. The law, the constitution is clear. Presumption of innocence until proved guilty. That is why the law says the right to political office.